Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today, we are going to recap a 2012 movie titled No One Lives. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The movie opens in a dark, deep forest, with a young woman screaming and fleeing barefoot for her life. The woman is Emma Ward, an heiress who tries her hardest to run but ends up treading on jagged fragments of glass. She boldly removes the shard and continues her run. However, a trap catches her as she approaches the road, leaving her suspended in mid-air. Screaming for assistance, she uses the shard to write Emma alive on the bark of a tree. The scene transitions to Betty and an anonymous man named Driver moving across the nation. Betty is upset because they have to move continuously, and she blames the man seated next to her for it, who appears to be attempting to cheer her up. Before the night falls, the couple chooses to stay someplace and relax. The driver arrives at a nearby motel, greets the receptionist, and passes over his credit card for payment. However, the identity of the driver is unclear, and the receptionist describes his name as strange. Later, while watching television in their room, the couple sees the news about Emma, the missing girl from the previous episode. According to the article, the investigators arrived at the tree Emma marked, and the carvings appear to be around 6 months old. Here we can also see Betty's abdominal scar, for which her partner apologizes. The scene shifts to a group of robbers commanded by Hogue, stealing a house. The thieves include Hogue's brother, Ethan, his girlfriend Tamara, Denny, and Flynn, who is mostly worthless but remains in the gang since he is Hogue's daughter's lover. While they are plundering the house, the owners unexpectedly return. The rich family returns to their big estate, but their delight immediately turns to terror when they notice the bunch of burglars. Realizing they are in danger, the father tries calling 911, but before he can contact the police, Flynn begins firing at them, murdering the entire family. Hogue becomes enraged at the needless slaughter and shouts at him for killing them because the sound of gunfire must have alerted the cops. The scene shifts to Betty and her partner, who requests her for dinner while she's in bed. Betty is upset and suggests that the driver approach his other girlfriend. The couple then goes out to eat at a beautiful restaurant next to a petrol station. Hogue's daughter, Amber, serves them inside the restaurant, and shortly after, Hogue and his gang arrive. Flynn, the most worthless gang member, notices Betty seated with her boyfriend and decides to make his move, sauntering over to their table. Betty tells his boyfriend to gently ignore him but later warns Flynn to get lost. Flynn's enraged, couldn't handle the rejection, so he started pestering Betty. The physical struggle between them nearly starts, but before the driver can make a move, Hogue and his crew arrive, forcing Flynn to leave. Hogue apologizes to the couple and tells Flynn not to defecate where he eats. However, the couple's horror does not end. On their way to the motel, Flynn breaks the driver's glass, leading to a vehicle accident. Flynn snatches the couple's vehicle and drives it away, mistaking them for affluent people carrying precious stuff. He believes they can obtain the driver's bank code and other information, and he attempts to engage Hogue and his brother Ethan in his nefarious schemes. But Hogue becomes enraged and threatens him that one more bad move would lead to his death. As the driver and Betty slowly open their eyes, they discover themselves locked at a petrol station, their wrists bound to a chair. Ethan soon appears and threatens to murder Betty by holding a blade to her throat. However, it appears that Betty has had enough of living with the driver. She promises him she will see him in the hereafter and puts her neck against the dagger's blade. The driver becomes enraged as he watches the spectacle and strikes Ethan with his shackles. But by the time he's finished, Betty has died. On the other side, Flynn begins investigating the driver's car, where he discovers his wallet and a few boring documents. Soon after opening the trunk, he finds 2 holes in the wall and eyes peering at him from behind them. The discovery of a female hiding behind a wall in the car's trunk takes him by surprise. Flynn and Tamara get her into the home, as the others watch from inside. As the two bring her into the house, Hogue and the others make their way downstairs when they hear the noise. At this time, the girl begins shrieking at them, begging them to go as far as they can. She states that the owner of the automobile she was in is hazardous, implying that the driver is a nasty person. She then informs them that the driver is on his way to murder them all without a trace. Amber suddenly appears, claiming that they were unable to contact Ethan, and the girl is certain that Ethan has already died by this point. Denny and Tamara follow Hogue's directions and go to the petrol station to check on Ethan. Denny and Tamara are surprised by what they see when they arrive. They are shocked to discover Ethan's bleeding and lifeless body lying on the ground. They also discover Betty's dead body, but the driver is nowhere to be found. The two then put Ethan's lifeless body into the van and drove it back to their hideaway. Inside the home, Amber offers the girl her clothing to change into, and we notice scars on the girl's body that are identical to those we saw on Betty earlier, indicating that Betty was the driver's next victim. Amber quickly remembers she has seen the girl on television before. And it is revealed that the girl is Emma Ward, who we saw at the start of the film. She is a wealthy heiress who went missing after 14 of her friends were slain at a party, and the driver is accountable for the murders. The most crucial news is that the Ward family is offering a $2 million reward for any information that leads to their daughter's return. Denny and Tamara soon come with sad expressions on their faces, and deliver the devastating news of Ethan's death. Hoag becomes enraged after seeing his brother's death and vows to hunt the driver at any cost. After Flynn and Denny transfer Ethan's dead body to a shed, he awakens unexpectedly, but we are surprised when the driver comes from within his body. Emma tackles the gang members and tries to escape, but Hoag stops her. Emma observes the driver standing outside, covered in blood. She then informs Hoag that she will wait until the driver kills them all. After cleaning his body, the driver proceeds to his vehicle, where he changes his clothing and prepares his weapons. When Hoag and his team go outside to find the driver, a steel arrow strikes Hoag and pierces his chest. The driver's previously placed traps also wound Denny. Flynn and Tamara begin shooting indiscriminately since the driver has set up various traps, but they are soon forced to withdraw. Denny begins to panic since he is losing blood. Tamara and Flynn argue because Denny needs emergency medical attention. Just then, the driver explodes their van, leaving them with little choice but to fight. Driver emerges victorious after finally apprehending Hoag, but his need for revenge is far from satisfactory. With a cold, calculating glitter in his eye, he subjected Hoag to a horrific agony, forcing him into the brutal teeth of a meat grinder. Hoag writhes in agony as the driver informs him that he is not a serial murderer but rather a psychopath who likes to kill in groups. Subsequently, the driver forces Hoag into the grinding machine, killing him. Back home, Amber questions Emma about why she is the only one still alive, to which Emma responds that the driver may have fallen in love with her. The flashback depicts the driver locking himself in a room with Emma, where he requests her to save his life. After telling Emma this, he showed her how to save his life before severing an artery in his neck. Emma later reveals that she was the one who saved his life. After the vehicle explodes and Hoag dies, Amber and Tamara engage in a brawl. But before the conflict can escalate, someone knocks on the door, compelling the gang to investigate the matter. However, as they get out the door, they see a sack hanging outside. Flynn looks closer, and Hoag's ring appears to be hanging from the bag. Flynn becomes enraged when he witnesses this, and when he kicks the bag, Hoag's bits of flesh fall on the ground, terrifying everyone. Danny and Amber then prepare to flee in a broken Jeep from their garage. They make it safely into the garage, but when they try to start the engine, the Jeep malfunctions, prompting Denny to walk outside and fix it. However, as Denny finishes fixing the car, the driver unexpectedly arrives and launches a brutal attack on him. Amber is terrified and flees into the woods after witnessing this. The maniac continues to chase her before stabbing her with a blade. Flynn and Tamara couldn't rescue Amber when they heard her screams, so they decided to leave this horror. Tamara rushed to help Denny after realizing that he is still alive, so they decided to bring him together and drive away. Later, Flynn knocks Amber unexpectedly while driving the Jeep, resulting in her death. They then leave Denny off at the hospital's front gate and continue their escape from the driver. The gang chooses to stop for the night and arrives at the Highway Motel. The receptionist became suspicious when Flynn brought out the driver's credit card to pay for the hotel. He phones the sheriff, alerting them to the bizarre and perhaps unlawful action taking place in front of his eyes. Later, while Tamara was taking a shower, Flynn started to harass Emma. Sensing the tension, Emma swiftly excused herself and headed to the restroom. In that moment, Tamara stepped in to help, handing Emma her gun for protection. Just then, Flynn barged into the restroom and forcibly pulled Emma out. At that critical moment, the sheriff arrived at the motel, confronting Flynn and demanding that he prove his identity. In a shocking turn of events, Flynn responded by shooting the sheriff dead with a single shot. Meanwhile, the driver burst into the restroom and coldly took Tamara's life. When Emma discovered Tamara's lifeless body, panic surged through her, compelling her to flee. Flynn chased after her, but the driver in the sheriff's car collided with him, sending him sprawling to the ground. Emma, fueled by desperation, began to fire at the driver, her eyes locked on him, but just as victory seemed within reach, her ammunition ran dry. With her heart racing and no other options left, Emma realized she had no choice but to run for her life. However, the driver relentlessly pursued her, his twisted psyche urging her to surrender to him. But Emma's instinct for survival surged within her, compelling her to strike back with a metal pipe. Just then, Flynn burst onto the scene, shotgun in hand, and fired at the menacing figure. In a split second, the driver yanked Emma out of harm's way, taking the bullet himself. Miraculously, he survived, shielded by his bulletproof vest, igniting a fierce struggle between the two men. They engaged in brutal hand-to-hand combat, each fueled by desperation and the will to survive. As Flynn prepared to take aim at the driver, Emma seized the moment. She knocked him down and snatched the shotgun, ready to turn the tide of the confrontation. She insists that she is the only one who will murder the driver. Emma's pulse raced as she aimed the shotgun at the driver, but she was unable to kill him because she failed to insert the fresh bullet into the shotgun. The driver, impressed by Emma's boldness, approaches her and informs her that she is now free. He then grabs a knife and slices through Emma's tummy, removing a tracker that had been used to follow Emma throughout the film. Emma is hopelessly lying on the road when the driver pulls up the gun again and brutally kills Flynn. Regrettably, the receptionist has witnessed everything, leaving the driver with no choice but to eliminate her as well. The next day, he sets off for his ultimate destination, the hospital where Danny is receiving treatment. Armed with a clipboard, he approaches Danny and ends his life, whispering ominously, "No one lives," marking the end of Hoag's team. Meanwhile, a news reporter reveals that Hoag's group has been holding Emma captive all along. As the driver observes the hospital staff transporting Emma on a stretcher, he feels a moment of connection. Before he leaves, he gently strokes her hand, and it is at this poignant moment that the film comes to a close. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.